Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
And welcome back to the Weird Science Comics YouTube channel, where today I'm going to be going through Future State Harley Quinn #1, an issue that is written by Stephanie Phillips with art by Simone DeMeo. And I'll tell you right now, I love the art in this book. I love it a lot. I love it a lot. And I really like the issue itself. I love the way that Stephanie Phillips combines Harley's character and her past into a future state book that makes sense. And a lot of these future state books, you're going to be going into them knowing that the creative team, or at least some, because Stephanie Phillips will be continuing Harley with Riley Rossmo in March, but you're getting a bit of a trial period. You're getting a bit of a look at these creative teams and if they know the characters, if they have a story for them, things like that. And I will tell you right away, I think that Stephanie Phillips has done a bang-up job, so much so that I put Harley Quinn on my pull list coming in March. So that shows you how much I did enjoy this issue, but in particular, how much I enjoyed this Harley Quinn. And we start off by Harley getting captured by the magistrate's thugs. They look more like Mecha in this, like Mecha shock troopers, as you have a narration giving you a little bit of a whimsical deal about Harley, about her nicknames, all this, about a trademark deal, Daddy's Little Monster, kind of a funny little joke there. We find out that that narration is by Jonathan Crane. He has orchestrated Harley being brought in to jail here. And so what we're going to get as we go on is a really smart twist of a Suicide Squad meets Silence of the Lambs. That's what this is. And if there's any character perfect for that, besides maybe me, it's Harley Quinn. She is on the Suicide Squad. She's a psychiatrist. So what ends up happening is Jonathan Crane gets her there and pretty much says, like a Suicide Squad deal, you're bad. We brought you in, and now you're going to help us. You know, you're going to help us get some criminals. You're going to help us get some wackadoos that are out there in Gotham. Namely, in this book, you have Professor Pig and Firefly. So you have that where you're going to help us, and then we'll make things easier on you. We'll make things that you can kind of, maybe commute your sentence and things. And I like the idea of this where you end up saying no masks. That's fine. But when you have no mask, when you have no Batman, you don't have anybody to stop the real crazy ones. I mean, Professor Pig is insane. Firefly, he's got his issues. Professor Pig, though, is insane. He's a monster. And so you don't have Batman to try to take care of him. And so this is almost like a special unit Suicide Squad of one, Harley, who will help using her psychological background to bring in these characters. So you start off with Professor Pig. They have been sending people to bring him in. When they send the police to him, he sends them back butchered up and Dollatroned and just monstrosities. They can't seem to break that cycle. What Harley says in a way that really is, if you like true crime and you like serial killer cases and things like that, that's what this is about. Because seriously, a lot of these characters are just plain out serial killers, like a Professor Pig. He may not kill people, but he's kind of rearranging them. He's Frankensteining them. But what Harley says to Crane is, you're looking at this as somebody who is butchering people. He doesn't look at it like that. He looks at it as art. He looks at it that this is his life's work. He cares about it. In fact, he cares so much about it, he never can perfect it. He doesn't ever get that perfection. That's why he keeps doing it. But what you have to do is get into his head and actually dupe him and the public, and drive him even more crazy about the thing that would drive him crazy, his art. What you do is you set up some things, we don't really have to go out and kill police and mangle them up. Let's not do it for real, but let's try to make it look good. But what the idea is, present something to the public through the media, through, the internet, papers, TV, that you say, oh my God, look what Professor Pig did this time. But make sure it's all like something that he would never want his name attached to. So then what will happen is, You will drive him so crazy about this. It will eat at him that people in the public think that that's his art, and he'll just come to you. He will turn himself in so that everybody knows it wasn't him. That's a pretty good deal, a true crime type deal that makes sense. And in a comic book world, in a comic book world where I keep getting, well, that's comic science. Well, that's, magic. This is straight up solid psychiatric work. And that's why I like it. That's why I like the Criminal Sanity book with Harley and Joker and that stuff. I dig this stuff, though. I dig it more in comics than real true crime. That stuff creeps me out. But with that, it works. He turns himself in. So what are we going to do next? This is just the series of deal. Well, next is Firefly. And again, Harley right away. And what I love about it, too, and what I love that Stephanie Phillips does is these are criminals they can't bring in. And Harley is able to just, boom, okay, well, what's that, Firefly? Okay, just give him a target. Like, it's so easy to her because she is that smart. And that, at the end, is what I really like about this. I am a Harley Quinn fan. I always have been. And I know that number is dwindling by the minute. I see people jumping that ship all the time. I'm still there. I'll be there. I guess I'll play the violin as the ship goes down because I do love her. But I love her in things like this. This is why I think that if something like this, and hopefully Stephanie Phillips continues with this combo deal, when you end up showing Harley as a smart character this is my whole deal, when you show her as a character, not a caricature, right? That's pretty fancy. People will still love her. If you have her just show up and yell, holy cramoly, right? There's a place for that, but you need a character. You can't just go on gags all the time. So this goes with the smart deal, but you have the lightheartedness of Harley in it as well. And I like it, but she says, like right away, give Firefly a target. Well, what does that mean? What do you mean a target? Well, the thing is, we know who Firefly is. We know why he ended up being an arsonist, and it's personal to him. Unfortunately, random stuff now is because of the idea that he doesn't have anything personal left to burn. So he's just randomly burning. The guy still likes to burn, baby, burn. But he really likes personal things. That's the things that gets him off, and that's the things that he wants to be connected with. So give him that. And what they end up doing is reopening the St. Evangelina orphanage where he had grown up. Now, I hope that, and in my mind, I really would love to think that they rebuilt this, and this is the long game, that it takes like 3 years to get the permits, they're breaking ground, they're doing all this, Harley's getting older, but it just seems that like, okay, we'll reopen this. That gives them a target. Now, in the meantime, you have the magistrate units all around waiting for him to show up, and even then Harley says, because Crane's, they're going to get burnt. She says, well, maybe they should kind of, see what it's like to be a firefighter or actually do a good job of something besides chasing down and cracking heads about masks. And they end up being prepared for this. And she's right. They bring Firefly in now. Well, it shows here that things are upping. Things are going up, 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 because then Crane says, come on, Harley, getting out of here. We're going to do some other things. And they're going to go for a bigger target. He says these were just barely appetizers. We're going for the big cheese. And we see the big cheese, or what Crane wants to bring down. It is Black Mask. Now, Black Mask ends up showing up after a kid kind of has got the Black Mask. Looks like he might be part of the Black Mask gang. And he's using the mask to, knock over a convenience store. Not really great big things. Well, Roman finds out about this, gets this kid, and pretty much monologues a bit about, we're not clowns, the mask is power, you're making it weak, I'm going to get rid of you, shoots him in the head, and then you got that, but it sets up Roman back. And recently, we just ended up seeing Black Mask being part of the whole Tom Taylor Suicide Squad book, and he ended up kind of getting both legs shot. I would have loved to have seen him here with a cane, maybe, that you kind of get that was a thing, but this kind of goes with some of the things that I'm having problems with Future State. Is you have 5 years in this book. This is in 2025. And so this difference in 5 years have gone by. yeah, things have gone on, so you can kind of just say, okay, he's back being Black Mask. But I like when we get a little hints at maybe what had happened. But we end with Black Mask now being the target. Harley's going to have to figure out what's going on with that, along with Crane. I like the team up. I like that neat little deal, as I said before, with it being a Suicide Squad meets the Silence of the Lambs. But I also really like Simone DeMeo's art. I think it's great. I wish that Simone was coming back with Stephanie Phillips in March. Riley Rossmo, he has a unique style, we'll say, and we'll see how that fits in March. But yeah, I really like this. I think that this was one of my favorite issues this week, where you ended up having a lot of big issues. I mean, for me to say that is also saying that it's bigger, or I liked it more than, say, a death metal, which I did. But it was more of a different type of deal, right? This isn't trying to change the universe and the metaverse and the omniverse and whatever the hell they're talking about. This is there for Harley Quinn fans to get their character and see if Stephanie Phillips knows what's up. She knows what's up. She knows what's up, and away. I'm ready. I can't wait for March with their book, and I can't wait for the next issue to see what goes on. So because of that, I'm giving this an 8.8 out of 10, and I'm going to thank everybody for listening and watching this here. And I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please like it below. Please subscribe to the channel. Look at the notes below as well, where you will see that we have a plethora of Marvel, DC podcasts, websites, all this stuff. And if you like hearing this, I think you would like the other things as well, because there's more voices involved, not just mine. Me and my man Eric do a DC Comics podcast every week. We have done it for, I think it's now 330 straight weeks. We don't take weeks off. And then we have 3 Marvel podcasts as well. You can even just look up Weird Science Comics on any player that you haven't find those. But that's it. Thanks, everybody. And I will talk to you later.